Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Heart-stopping moments at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. A Delta Airlines plane flipped over on the runway after coming in for a landing, injuring numerous people on board. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Scary moments for passengers and crew members on board what has been the fourth major aviation incident in the past month. More than a dozen people are hurt right now. Fortunately, everyone survived.
There's certainly a lot of questions to be answered tonight, but the big one, how did this happen and why did the plane flip over? Kevin Uretsky has more on the investigation tonight at Pearson International Airport in Toronto.
Frightening moments on board a Delta flight Monday in Canada. Emergency responders on the tarmac at Toronto Pearson Airport, where the plane crash landed on the runway. The plane seen flipped upside down, with its wings apparently sheared off.
This airplane just crashed at 23.
The aircraft, identified as a Mitsubishi CRJ-900LR operated by Delta, took off from Minneapolis Monday afternoon. All 80 people on board were evacuated after the crash. Officials say, incredibly, there was no loss of life, hailing first responders for getting to the scene quickly.
Airport emergency workers mounted a textbook response, reaching the site within minutes and quickly evacuating the passengers. There were no fatalities.
18 injured passengers have been transported to the local area hospitals. We had one additional passenger recently transported to a hospital.
While no official cause has been given for the crash, conditions on the ground were far from ideal. A winter storm hit Toronto over the weekend. Blowing snow and wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour were reported on Monday.
The aircraft is upside down and burning.
The airport's social media accounts had posted earlier on Monday that they were expecting a busy day, hoping to catch up after the weekend's delays. Monday's incident is the latest in a string of deadly and concerning aviation accidents across North America. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada will lead the investigation into what happened. Kevin Uretsky, Fox 61.
And we'll continue to bring you any new developments from Toronto after this airport incident. You can always get the latest information on fox61.com and on the free Fox 61 News app. All right, turning now to the weather and the cold stretch we have coming up this week. Going to get pretty frigid out there.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look at the forecast. Rachel, how cold is it?
Well, I think the coldest will be tonight into tomorrow morning with wind chills that will get near and even below zero. So the problem is not just the temperatures, which will be dipping back into the teens, but the combination of the cold and these winds that are still gusting anywhere between 20 to 40 miles an hour. The good news is the worst of the winds are behind us. The bad news is we still keep a gust around, or gusty breeze around, I should say, as we head into the day tomorrow. A wind advisory still in effect until midnight for Litchfield County, and for Hartford, Tolland, and Windham counties, it's in effect until tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I don't think the wind will be as strong as it was outside today, but you're definitely still going to feel it. So again, we're looking at wind chills that will be down near or even below zero with 2 cold days ahead. Right now, temperatures are in the 20s for most of the state. Here's a look at that wind chill as we head through the next 12 hours. Check it out as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Hats, scarves, gloves, all ready to go. Actual low temperatures will be in the teens, though, and heading through the afternoon, temperatures will be well below average for this time of year, climbing into the mid to upper 20s as we head through the afternoon. On Wednesday, it's still cold, but we get rid of the wind. We're going to talk about the latest on that potential storm threat for Thursday and how it's trending farther away from us. We'll explain coming up.
All right, thank you, Rachel. Governor Doug Lamont has activated the state's severe cold weather protocol. This will be in effect all this week. If you or someone you know needs shelter or a warming center to escape the dangerously cold temperatures, dial 211 to find the nearest location.
Well, since this weekend's winter storm, Eversource officials tell Fox 61 they have restored power to more than 100,000 customers.
But still, at this hour, some homes are in the dark, so utility workers are out tonight trying to get everyone back on the grid. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot went out with Eversource crews in Prospect.
Crews have been working nonstop since last Saturday to get power restored in homes across the state. Eversource crew members tell me the cold weather has made this challenging. If you thought restoring power was as easy as turning a switch on, it's not. Ron DeSoniers, a chief lineman with Eversource, has worked with the company for 27 years. He says one of the many things that make the job challenging, cold weather.
That's the thing that slows everything down is your footing, and if you got to climb over trees, and if you're working on terrain.
The first thing crews do when they get to a site, examine what's around them.
Step one is, assess the scene, make sure everything's safe. As a crew, just walk around together and discuss, a plan of attack on what you're going to do next.
Ron tells me this tree right here is causing a big problem. He says it made the pole snap, and this is the first thing they have to tackle before working to restore the power.
Well, I was out here earlier today, and I didn't want the tree moved because you see how the pole's hanging out by a thread. So what we're going to do is we're going to secure the pole with a digger first, and then, once we secure it, we'll probably either have them move the tree or we're going to transfer our primary first. We're not sure. We'll discuss it as a group and see what we're going to do. But that tree doesn't get moved.
And he says it's a good thing the property owner didn't try and move it on their own. Otherwise,
then there'd be a lot more people out of power.
Eversource spokesperson Sarah Paduano said crews are seeing more trees down due to the ice.
Any trees that have been weakened by the ice from the storm over the weekend, with the strong winds that we're seeing today, they're even weaker. So they're more susceptible to falling onto power lines and electric equipment, which leads to additional outages.
And when it's all over, DeSonier says he's happy to help.
It's nice when you get a thank you. Or I had a woman in Middlebury drive by today and said, "Oh, we appreciate you," and that's always nice.
Utility companies remind people to treat down power lines as if they are live. Do not drive over them or walk over them. They also say if you experience a power outage at your home, to make sure you report it and not rely on your neighbor to do so. In Prospect, Cape Hattie-Foot, Fox 61.
A Burlington family is without a home tonight. Their house went up in flames earlier. Fire crews responded to this home on Gilbert Lane. When they got there, they found the garage fully engulfed. Other fire departments had to come out to help because there weren't hydrants. And as you can imagine, the cold also made it harder for firefighters to put out the flames.
The cold always hampers an operation. As you can see, there's ice on the road and, water draining off from the hoses and everything. So it creates some slippery conditions, but Public Works has been here, and so we're pretty.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
A new video tonight from the Office of Inspector General shows the moments a man shot and injured a Waterbury police officer. It happened last Thursday night while police were investigating several armed carjacking attempts, and tonight we're laying out what led up to that shooting. Thursday, February 13th, 8:30 p.m. Waterbury police get a call for an attempted carjacking on Waterville Street. The caller reports 3 masked men with a gun tried to steal their car, but the person was able to drive away. The caller told police the masked men were in a white Ford SUV. 20 minutes later, police get a second complaint of an attempted carjacking, this time on Chase Avenue. The caller told police the suspects were driving a white Ford Explorer and took his keys at gunpoint. The next report was of 3 people trying to break into a vehicle on America Street. When Sergeant Stephen Martin and Detective Ronald Sackett got there, they spotted a white Ford Explorer. A neighbor told police 3 people ran toward a home on Claremont Avenue. You can see from this Ring camera video released by investigators, 2 people run alongside the house. One of them escapes and one stays behind. The Office of Inspector General says that's Arian Perez Feliciano, armed with a gun, equipped with a laser. You can see the gunman get into a shooting stance before he fires and runs away. Here's another angle from Detective Sackett's body cam. As he turns the corner to the back of the house, investigators say he comes face to face with Perez Feliciano before he is shot and officers return fire.
I'm hit!
The report says Perez Feliciano shot Detective Sackett through his upper leg. Perez Feliciano was not hurt. He is charged with attempted murder, assault on a police officer, and other charges. The other 2 suspects, 18-year-old Sidney Reed and 19-year-old Alberto Rodriguez, are facing several robbery and weapons charges. Detective Sackett was released from the hospital on Friday and is recovering. The investigation is ongoing, and we will update you when we get a final report.